G'day. I drive a taxi 3 days a week, part-time, my semi-retirement job. Occasionally the boss will call me and say the night driver hasn't turned up or is sick, whatever. Can you work on into the night for me? And I'll say, yeah, rightio. And so I found myself one night sitting on a lonely rank under an insipid streetlight. It was a light, misty rain swirling around. It was the middle of winter. I was cold, wet and miserable and lonely. And I thought, this is no job for young people. This is a job for old farts like me. And I pulled out my notebook and I wrote this poem. And it's called Taxi. And it's subtitled La Belle Dame de la Mort, the Beautiful Lady of Death. I was driving 300 and looking for 4, but the clock was against me. The weather was poor when she walked from the shadows and onto the street to a halo of light in the mist and the sleet. And her skin shone like wax, waning close to a flame, while her tresses of amber clung tight to her frame, as her aura, a light from a power within, was the pallor of death, but the colour of sin. I had eyes on this lady who stood to the side when she held out an arm and she hailed for a ride. I'd almost gone past but had no need to turn. I had fuel in the tank and black rubber to burn, so I stood on the anchors, selecting reverse. But the scene in my mirrors fetched forth a foul curse, as a battered old taxi had stopped for the fare. In the life of a driver, there's little you'll share. And the black night was thick with the thinnest of rain, as mist rode up eddies, a visceral stain, when all time in the headlights slowed down to a crawl, and then nothing was moving, no sound heard at all. Then a battered old man from the battered old cab, and both wore the badges of age like a scab, slowly oozed from his cab with a visible groan. And he opened a door for this lady alone. I could see on his face, with the raindrops, were tears, in ethereal lighting that robbed him of years, and I drew a sharp gasp, for a visage I'd known and the face that looked back was no stranger, my own. Then he closed up the door for the lady of death, and he drew himself straight as he struggled for breath, and he turned to my cab with his last earthly view, and he called out my name, and he cried, I am you. In that instant of time, as I held in my breath, all his sins were dissolved by the lady of death. And I turned for the depot down highways of pain as his cab disappeared in the sleet and the rain.